Before we begin the story, write in the comments where in the world you're watching from today. Vanier had been on the streets for several days already. He had nowhere to go, no relatives, no parents. He was a true orphan. After leaving the orphanage, he lived in a local dormitory. But then came a reform, or rather, a change in management, and he was asked to leave. Without work experience, nobody would hire him. He scraped by doing odd jobs, fetch this, carry that. But then the cold came. Sleeping outside became harder. It rained constantly. The temperature dropped, and the chill set in. Like it or not, he had to look for shelter. He was lucky on the outskirts of the city stood an old building marked for demolition. That's where Vanier went. The house was considered unsafe. The residents had been evicted long ago, and the empty structure had stood abandoned for years. The homeless and local thugs had smashed the windows and doors on the first floors, so getting inside wasn't difficult. Vanier climbed higher, to where some of the windows were still intact. Walking down the dark hallway was airy. It seemed like he could hear soft whispers and rustling, but he knew it was only the draft. He found an open apartment and stepped inside. Luck. There was an old, sagging couch and a worn-out blanket, likely left by former tenants. He had no choice. Still fully dressed, he lay down, wrapped himself in the blanket, and slowly began to feel warmth. Gradually, he drifted into a light sleep. That night, he woke up a couple of times to strange noises, but no matter how hard he listened, the building was silent. In the morning, despite the hunger gnawing at his stomach, his last money had gone to a bus fare. Vanier decided to look for work nearby. He stretched, carefully tidied up the old couch, closed the door, and stepped into the hallway. Suddenly, something darted underfoot. A rat. Vanier nearly fell from the shock, grabbed the wall, and stumbled over a rug by the door. Something clinked. He bent down and, in the dim light, saw a set of keys. Picking them up, Vanier decided to open the neighboring door. Who locks a room in an abandoned building? Curious, he turned the key. It clicked, and the door opened slightly. Vanier stepped into the nearest room and froze. A little girl lay on the bed under blankets. She didn't seem to be breathing. He rushed to her and sighed with relief. She was asleep. But who would leave a child in an abandoned house? Why was she here? And how could she sleep so soundly? Vanier wanted to wake her. But then the door slammed behind him. Step away from the child, a woman said behind him. She was breathing heavily as if she had run and held a thick stick pointed at Vanier. I won't hurt anyone. He raised his hands. I just found her. Is she your daughter? At that moment, the girl stirred. The woman picked her up and began rummaging through her pocket. Here, sweetheart, drink your medicine. It'll make you feel better. Don't cry, mommy's here, she whispered. She gave the girl syrup and tucked her in again, then got up and gestured for Vanier to step into another room. Who are you? What are you doing here? She asked. I could ask you the same, Vanier replied. I'm Ivan. I had nowhere to sleep, so I came here. And you? Doesn't matter. She cut him off. Just forget you saw us. Are you hiding from someone? He asked. She didn't answer and returned to the girl. Vanier followed. The girl didn't seem to be getting better. Her voice was hoarse, and her cheeks burned with fever. Vanier placed a hand on her forehead. She's burning up. The medicine isn't working, he said quietly. I see, the woman muttered, clutching her head. We can't go to the hospital. I'll help, Vanier said and left the apartment. He had no money, but he had a good memory and had learned a lot from his grandfather before going to the orphanage. His grandfather raised him alone and had been a herbalist. Learn, Vanier. He would say, anything can happen in life, but knowledge will help. At dawn, they would go together to the fields, the forest, or the river. Vanier memorized plant names, properties, appearance, scent. He learned to make brews and mixes. But then his grandfather passed away, and Vanier ended up in the orphanage. Just yesterday, while approaching the abandoned building, Vanier had noticed a big oak tree, a cherry tree, and a rosehip bush nearby. The leaves had fallen, but the red berries stood out brightly in the gray autumn day. He went there, broke off cherry branches, gathered rosehip berries, and took some oak bark. Summer would have offered more healing herbs, but it was autumn returning. To the apartment, Vanier searched the kitchen. It was empty. So he began checking other rooms and found what he needed: an old teapot and several mugs. The gas had long been turned off. He went outside again, gathered relatively dry twigs, and lit a fire. He still had matches. He boiled the water, came back to the apartment, distributed the herbs in mugs, and poured the hot water over them. Let it steep, he said, then give it to the girl. It won't work right away, but it should help. I'll go now, give her the brew, and she'll start getting better, he added, glancing at the woman. Diana, she said softly. My daughter's name is Diana. I'm Tanya, thank you. No need to thank me yet, Vanier replied. He wanted to leave, but Tanya didn't push him away anymore. Vanier settled into an old armchair and closed his eyes. We ran away from my husband. Tanya suddenly spoke. Vanier said nothing, just listened. He's rich and powerful. When I married him, I didn't want kids, thought it was too early. But he insisted. When Diana was born, I realized how much I loved her and how foolish I had been. I'd do anything for her. But my husband wasn't happy. He wanted a son and ignored our daughter. When Diana was little, I tried to keep her away from him, but she grew up and started asking why her father didn't love her. She even asked him directly. That's when he hit me for the first time, said I taught her that. It got worse. I asked for divorce. He beat me so badly I couldn't go outside. For a week, when I tried to flee with Diana, he caught me, beat me again, and threatened that if I tried it again, he'd take Diana and lock me up in a psych ward. And believe me, he had the connections to do it. But you ran away, Vanier said quietly. Yes, he came home drunk one night, started pulling me around, then reached for Diana. I calmed him down and got him to sleep. As soon as he did, I grabbed what I could, took Diana, and ran. I had no idea where we'd go. I have no parents, no money. I tried the police, they just laughed, told me to go home and stop being silly. But that house isn't a home, it's a prison. We stumbled on this building by accident, and now Diana's sick, and I'm a useless mother who can't even help her. Tanya burst into tears. Vanier stayed silent. What could he do for this woman? By morning, Diana felt a bit better. Tanya tended to her, and Vanya went out to earn some money. He got a job at a construction site mixing cement, fetching materials, doing whatever was needed. Each evening, he brought back warm food from a cafe for 3 people and medicine. Here, he said, handing Tanya a bottle. This should help. Thank you, Vanier, she replied. Better yet, give me your husband's address. I want to see what's going on. Enough time has passed. Maybe he's looking for you, maybe not. At the address, Vanier saw a large mansion. Cars and people crowded the gates. A party, he thought. Weird, when your wife and child are missing. But as he got closer, he realized it wasn't a party. It was a funeral. He asked a man nearby what had happened. You're not from around here? The man asked. It's the funeral of Egor Petrovich, the local deputy. Good man, right? Vanier thought. So good his wife and daughter ran away. Aloud, he asked. He was young. What happened? Car crash. The man replied. He hit a reckless driver and died on the spot. Only he knew where his wife and daughter went. No one else does. Poor woman probably doesn't even know she's a widow. Vanier rushed to tell Tanya. The danger was gone. She and Diana could return home. At first, Tanya didn't believe him. But then she cried. She felt sorry for her husband, but couldn't deny her relief. She hurried home. Everyone was shocked to see her. She explained she had just learned the news and came immediately. She didn't have to fake her grief. Her tears were real. People hugged her and offered comfort. After the funeral, her husband's lawyer announced that the property would go to Tanya and her daughter. Egor's parents would receive a large bank account. but everything else was left to his wife and child. Vanya watched from a distance. When he heard the news, he turned to leave. "Where are you going?" Tanya called out, "Everything's fine now. I'm at peace. It's getting late. Don't go, stay." Tanya said, "The house is big, plenty of room." "Are you sure? Now it's my decision." "And yes, I'm sure. You helped us in our darkest hour. Now it's my turn." Vanya stayed. Tanya was happy. Diana recovered and ran around the house like a whirlwind. She wouldn't let Vanya go, helped him find work, and invited him to live with them. She had grown fond of this guy. What awaited him on the streets? Nothing good. And so, Vanya found a family. He grew truly attached to Tanya and Diana. He happily cared for the little girl when her mother was busy. Thanks to his grandfather, without his teachings, Vanya wouldn't have been able to help or find a home. If this story touched your heart, please support me with a like and a subscription. It only takes a second, but your support is a huge motivation for me to keep creating. Thank you, and see you again soon.